Hello, everyone. Welcome to 360 of Opera Live. Our guest today is Patricia Caicedo. There she is. Let's get her in. Hola, Patricia.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Bien.
Bien, todo bien. I'm so happy to have you here on 360 of Opera with us today. I'm just going to make a few announcements before we start. Welcome, everyone. I see a lot of people joining. I see a lot of hearts. Thank you. So please let us know where you're tuning in from. We always love seeing all your flags in your cities and giving you shout outs. So today's interview is going to be in English, but we'll make sure to have some time for a Q&A at the end where you can ask questions in both English or Spanish. We both speak Spanish. Las dos hablamos español, así que si tienen preguntas en español, por favor, nos pueden hacer las preguntas al final y vamos a responder en español y en inglés. Hola, California. Okay, without further ado, Uruguay. Hola, María
Uruguay.
Victoria. Without further ado, I want to welcome today's guest, Soprano Patricia Caicedo, founder of Barcelona Festival of Song and Mundo Arts, and an amazing artist and educator and academic. So many things. We have so many things to talk about. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
You're tuning in from Barcelona, correct?
Yes, I live in Barcelona.
And how is it there right now? Is it beautiful? I'm in New York and it won't stop snowing.
It is beautiful. It seems like it's spring already. It's coming spring. See, the weather is getting better.
I love Barcelona so much. So I'm going to get on it because we have a lot to talk about. First of all, I want to talk about your baby, the Barcelona Festival of Song. I am a proud alumna from this program and now also a proud ambassador for this program, for this festival. Could you tell us a little bit about how long this festival has been going, how it originated, and what it consists of?
So the festival was born in 2005. So in this year we will be arriving to our 17th edition. Imagine, this is a miracle. And it all originated because as a classical singer, I'm from Colombia. I was trained there initially. So being there, all my training was focused on the Eurocentric repertoire, Italian, French, and German, as all classical singers in the world. Mm-hmm. So not acknowledging the very important Latin American and Iberian vocal repertoire, the art song repertoire. So I started discovering this repertoire very early on in my career, and I fell in love with it, especially because it connected very fast and deep with who I am, with my identity. I could sing in my own language, and also later on I learned Portuguese and Catalan. So I started discovering that the repertoire that at the beginning I thought it was small, a few songs, it was huge, immense, impossible to learn all this music in one or many lives. So I said, no, I have to do something to create a space for other classical singers to have the benefit of this repertoire, to get to know the languages, the diction, and the history, the historical context. Because I think most of the singers at universities and conservatories, they don't even know that it exists, because at universities and conservatories, they continue perpetuating the canon, the Eurocentric canon of the 19th century, not acknowledging the diversity of of music. So
Mm-hmm.
I can only contribute with the very small part that is Latin American and Liberian music, but of course music, vocal music is huge, and it includes music from Asia, from, I mean, China and Africa and all countries. I mean, there is a huge vocal music that we ignore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the festival
Absolutely.
was born, I mean, thinking in doing, creating, filling this void. And it's a summer program for classical singers who come to Barcelona during 10 days, and they come to just learn. It's a very intensive, you know it,
Yeah.
because it's just non-stop working. It's like 68 hours of classes, and it's learning the diction and the history and the interpretation of the art song in Spanish, in Catalan, and in Portuguese. And each student, each singer, and many of them are already professional singers or voice teachers at universities, and they come, and I design for each student an individual program of 4 songs in Catalan, 4 in Portuguese, 4 in Spanish, that is adapted to his or her voice and his or her level of development. So it's very tailor-made for each person. So when the singer arrives here, they know it, but they have to polish it. And so we together polish this music, and at the end, all singers perform in 2 concerts in Barcelona. You did it, I mean.
Yeah, yeah. And so I attended in 2014, and what was very unique about the program was first this that you're talking about, that you provided each one of us with a specific repertoire suggestions. We could also bring some, things that we wanted to work on, but you very much curated repertoire for each singer depending on their level, or on their voice type, their mother tongue. And it was also very interesting to have a varied group. Like you were saying, some of us were still students, some were teachers, there were instrumentalists too. One of my colleagues was a guitarist. So it was a very just creative and nurturing environment. And as part of the festival, there were also concerts by professional singers and musicians in Barcelona, in Spain. So, we were working all day, and then at night we were able to absorb, in a more relaxing way, let's say, while we were learning. So it was such a fantastic experience, and I just encourage everyone to check out all the pages.
The family, I mean, the connections, the personal connections are beautiful, because there is somebody asking, repertoire in Portuguese. Yes, of course.
Yes.
We do a lot of Brazilian art song. We always, since the beginning of the festival, we devote a big part of the festival to the art song by Brazilian composers in Portuguese, of course. And there is a teacher who comes from Brazil. And also there is a concert of Brazilian art song. That is an endless repertoire. I mean, I learn every year more and more and more music, and it's kind of never-ending repertoire, the Brazilian art song repertoire, that is beautiful. And so the personal thing, because I was talking to you last time that the people who come to the festival are already very special, because they are already singers who are kind of open-minded, people who want to explore new repertoire, who are more adventurous, if I could say. So defying or trying to break the canon or find new audiences. So they are already special to just come all the way to Barcelona looking for this music. Yeah. So when we get together, it's always very like an explosion of energy and creative minds, and it's very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And this past summer, some of the alumni, we had a chance to do a virtual concert together from all over the world, and it was it was just so great to be able to, get back together with everyone and meet also people from other years, so it's a little bit this network, this family of the festival also that keeps going.
And that's the whole point of the festival also, is internationally promoting this repertoire, to have more, to expand it through the people, the singers who participate, and so they bring with them to their own countries this music, to teach it or to share it with audiences. So this is the whole point of it.
Absolutely. And so you also have a resource called Mundo Arts, where a lot of this music, you publish it in books. So there's no excuses. People can purchase the books and have the sheet music. So can you tell us a little bit about this and what is available?
So what happened to me when I was a student was that I very early on, when I fall in love with these songs, the first songs I fell in love were songs from your country that were from Ginastera. And I fell in love with this music, and I immediately went to the music store to buy more. And the first shock was to find out that, oh, this music is not published, no way to find it. So I had to start a very long journey of finding this music, a research project to find the actual songs. And then I said, when I started finding a lot of songs, I said, oh God, there are really many songs, and people don't even know that this exists. How to give to know this?
Get it to them.
Get it to know. So the first thing was singing, and then I said I have to do research to bring to light this and give this music to the other singers. So I started, first book I made it on 2005, all the way 2005, and it was published by a publisher here in Barcelona, and it was a critical anthology of the Latin American art song, with the IPA and translations of the poetries, and also with the context of creation of this music and biographies of the composers and poets. Because I always said, if we are talking about Mozart, we all know where Mozart had lunch every day, when he went to school. I mean, we know everything about him, but we don't know anything about our Latin American composers. So we need to provide this context. So the books are very comprehensive. So that was first book in 2005. And then when I invested 3 years in the making of that book, so I learned how to do a book from cover to cover, and I said, oh, next books, I will do it in my own publisher. So I will have the freedom also to choose the subjects of my research. And I know that since this is my life mission, I will be really committed to promote this, and not like this publisher that this was just one more of their books, and they don't care about it. They don't care to the point that this book is not being republished, re-edited, and it's a tragedy. So I said, no, I have to do it, and I created Mundo Arts. And on Mundo Arts, I have published by now 10 books. They are the Latin American and Spanish vocal music collection, and all the books have the sheet music, the IPA. They are books for dummies. I mean, for the singer who was very lazy singer, for them, because they have the IPA, the translation, the everything. Even I'm recording many of those songs, and the songs are on Spotify, so people can have it all. No excuses.
Yeah, no excuses. Right, that's amazing. It's a little bit sometimes Emiliano. Hola, Emiliano. Sometimes, with new music or with unknown repertoire, there can be this excuse of like, oh, but it's not recorded. Oh, there's no resources. If I don't know the language, this would be very hard. Well, you're solving that problem.
No
so
excuses,
it's amazing.
I mean, no excuses. And also, I always say to the singers, all the singers of the world, classical singers, are trained with the same repertoire. So everybody are singing the same music. I mean, the audiences are naturally tired and they are decreasing because the repertoire is the same over and over again, as if there were no more music of quality. There is more music of quality. We have the resources, no excuses to not to study new things.
Absolutely, absolutely. So on that note, I wanted to also share that we have a discount code for any purchase on the Mundo Arts website. So you can use the code 360 of opera. I'll write it down after. So
I didn't remember that.
so people don't forget. Hi, Opera Life. But with this discount code, you get a 15% discount for any of these books. So even less excuses to go get these books. And even if you don't speak Spanish, you know, it's there's such beautiful music, and you can learn it with IPA like any other language, and to start to get familiar with this music, and not always sing the same repertoire.
And in the United States, you know, there is a big percentage in the census of 2010, 16.6% of the population, meaning 51 million people were of Latino descent. So they speak Spanish, they understand that language, they will relate to that music. So that's a good way to develop new audiences.
Absolutely. Someone is asking us if you only publish vocal music.
So that's a good question. For now, all the books that are available are vocal art song. But there is one book that is a monograph that explains the history of the Latin American art song. And coming in the next months will be a song for a book of piano music by a Latin American composer named Jaime Leon.
Yes.
Jaime
beautiful.
Leon, of course.
Colombian. Beautiful. So, okay, that's that. That's wonderful. You also, if I'm correct, there is one by women, Latin American women composers, correct?
Yes, the most recent book of us is Latin American and Liberian art songs by women composers, and it has songs by women from Cuba, Brazil, Colombia, Catalonia, and what other country? Ay, Dios mío, I don't remember, but I mean songs in Spanish, in Portuguese, and in Catalan. So it has, I don't remember, 26 songs, but with the IPA, everything by songs by women. And we also have a book of the Argentinian composer Irma Urtiaga, all her vocal works in one book. And it's nice because she not only wrote the music, but sometimes she painted some illustrations that are in the book, are made by her.
Ah, that's beautiful. So as we were talking, that a lot of these songs you've also recorded, so they're available for reference. Can you tell us a little bit, not only your discography until now, but also you have a new album with your own compositions?
Yeah, that's very new for me. I have recorded 11 CDs. I mean, the 10 of art songs, but from different, composers of in indigenous languages too, in Quechua, in Nahuatl, in Portuguese, in Catalan, in Spanish, and all this same genre, no, Latin American and Liberian art song. That is a genre that is kind of in the middle between the classical music tradition or the academic music and the folk music, because this genre was created during the nationalistic period, where composers were getting inspiration from folk sources. So this is a very nice encounter, meeting point of these two things. And this connects with my own story and also explains probably why I fell in love with it, is because when I started singing, I grew up singing folk music. I started singing when I was 11 years old, and I was a folk music singer. So I used to sing a Colombian, Andean Colombian music that is bambuco, pasillo, torbellino, the music from the center of Colombia. That is a music, very intimate music played with chord instruments. But I was also singing a lot of sambas and chacareras and music from the South Cone. And later on, I was singing the trova cubana when I was at the university. So I was in this música protesta or nueva canción. So I was Silvio Rodriguez, Pablo Milanés, and all this music. But when I started singing, the first songs I learned with my guitar were rancheras. Emiliano Zapata probablemente were rancheras and music from boleros and music from the Caribbean. So I grew up singing all these folk, popular Latin American music. That was before then starting my training, vocal training as a classical singer. It's kind of strange because I started the conservatory at 5 years old, studying solfege and piano. I started singing at 11, but singing like no training, just like the voice was there, and with folk. And then after that, at 23, I started vocal training for classical singing. So this, what I'm explaining this is because the songs that I started composing are songs in folk, popular style, inspired by all this music of my years of formation and the environment that surrounded me. But I think that probably they also have influences of the art song experience, because I sat to music poetry. So it's kind of in the middle too.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. And there's this song in particular that you released recently called America Mia.
You like that song?
I love that song. Could you tell us a little bit about this song and your inspiration for it?
Yes, America Mia is a song. You know, when I started the first, when I was 12, 13, I participated in competitions. No? Competition, the school competition or national competitions. And the first song that I sung in one of those competitions that moved me profoundly was a song by César Isela called Canción con Todos. Salgo a caminar por la cintura cósmica del sur. It's a song that is talking about America, how we are all siblings in all these countries, and describing this beauty of especially Latin America in this César Isela song. So I think this my America Mia song is in the same kind of direction, talking about how we America are a continent of contrast, of diversity, that is our richness, and is describing all the beauty of our continent, and trying to put us together, not to divide us, but to think in us as a continent.
Yeah.
So it's a declaration of love to our American continent.
Yes, yes. It's a beautiful song. So all of your music is available on Spotify, so people can go check it out. And you also have a YouTube channel and a Facebook channel where you just started a new podcast.
Yes. So all these projects that appear to be many and diverse, they all have the same goal. That is promoting the Latin American and Iberian music culture, and particularly the art song. But now I'm expanding, because I don't want to think, or to musicians to limit themselves to say this is art song, because also this is a construction from the 19th century, where the divisions between folk, popular, and art music, that's horrible, because it implies that it's better than the other music, and it's not true.
Right.
All these distinctions were born, but this is a construction, human construction, that is not necessarily true. Music is one, and we can see that even more evidently in Latin American music, because those borders are very diffuse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So probably for me also it was a kind of difficult not difficult, but some kind of exercise when I was looking at myself as a classical singer, and classical singers sing in certain way and sing certain things and don't sing other things. And now that I'm kind of expanding my identity and also allowing myself to enjoy also other music and allowing to express who I am in other ways. So yes, I'm a classical singer and I sing lead or art song, but I also can sing the folk and popular music, and it's equally valuable and equally beautiful. Also, that coming from different parts. So that's kind of the exercise I'm trying to make in my own performing career.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that's a great message for young singers, especially, right? Because there isn't this necessary part of getting so absorbed. If you want to dedicate your life to classical music, to being so absorbed in it and really focus in that. And that's wonderful, but we also can't lose our other interests or find ways to merge a little bit, the classical culture with the folk culture, with the pop culture, because if not, there's this risk of classical music of being so disconnected, to what's popular, to what's just an easier reflection of society, right? A more automatic reflection.
Also, I think that when the conservatoire or the university only teaches you something, it's sending a message. It's saying to you, this is the only legitimate music, and the one that we don't teach, we don't include, is because it's not as valuable or legitimate. Nothing farther from the truth. So we need to rethink the curriculum of universities. This is anachronic. Yeah. But the fact that the curriculums of universities are anachronic because they are in 19th century, not in 21st century, doesn't mean that we have to continue anchored to these structures. We can defy it and we can say, okay, we need to think outside of it and say, yes, the classical music is valid, as beautiful, is important, but there are many other musics that are of the same quality, importance, and beauty that I can embrace and expand my identity as a musician.
Absolutely, absolutely. So on this new podcast, it's called the Latin American and Iberian Art Song Podcast. And
yes, I didn't mention that.
Yes. So you started, you're on episode 4, I believe.
6.
6? Oh, wow.
You were far. You were far.
I was so you're on episode 6, and can you tell us a little bit so far which kind of guests you've had, which kind of conversations you had, and what are some that are coming up? What's your goal with this podcast?
So the goal of the podcast is to contribute to decolonize the minds of these classical singers. So that's to break preconceptions, to open their minds, to think outside of the box. There is more than I'm receiving at the universities, and help them to access the knowledge and resources. So, and particularly with the focus is Latin American and Iberian Peninsula music and culture. So, as a guest, it had been Lenine Santos, that is one of the teachers of the Barcelona Festival, who is a specialist in Brazilian art song. So he will be a guest he will appear many times, once a month, talking about different aspects of Brazilian music and song. And he also comes from the folk music, and then he trained as a classical singer. So he shares these two worlds. And also next episode, it will be for the second time, Dr. Walter Clark, that is a musicologist and the director of the Liberian and Latin American Center of University of California. We will talk about Joaquin Rodrigo, the Spanish composers, and his vocal compositions and life, etc. And you were there because as an ambassador of the Barcelona Festival, so there will be ambassadors of the Barcelona Festival talking about their experience, not only at the festival, but their experience as singers performing this music, why they were interested in this music, or how, thoughts about their careers, and how this contact with this new repertoire have impacted their careers. And also poets. Last time there was a poet, a Catalan poet, who have collaborated with on song cycles. So he was talking about his poetry in Catalan, and he was reciting the poems in Catalan. So he is the actual poet reciting the poetry that is part of a song cycle that the singer can hear later or have the music. So this is this whole exploration of this world that will be, I don't know where it will bring me. I hope, I have the idea that there will be poets, composers, performers, people related to this world, but it's expanding, and who knows.
It's a wonderful project. I'm a huge podcast fan, so I love that you started this this new project. And so I wanted to touch on last summer, because let's hope everything is resolved by this summer and everyone can travel, no problem. But last summer, you had to do a hybrid program, but this was not something new for you, because you've been ahead with technology for a while. I remember I attended the program in 2014, and we were already doing live streaming with Brazil. So can you walk us a little bit through that, and how was the experience last summer, and what are the hopes for this summer?
So as you said, since 2011, imagine, this is ancient world in terms of so the festival have incorporated streaming to be able to bring the contents to students in Latin America. So we have done also bring teachers from Brazil to the students here. So technology is part of the festival since years ago. So thank God, because last year that it was impossible for the students to come, we did complete, the festival online, the classes and the concerts. We did the artists from their countries of origin. They performed some of the concerts, so that was great, because the festival could survive the earthquake that was last year for all of us. But I think for the next year now, the registration is open to participate in the festival, and there are a few students that are already registered, and I take advantage for the students or singers who are connected to invite them to register, because we plan to do a in-person festival, and also to have the online version simultaneously for the people who cannot come. But technology is a big friend of the festival since years ago, and it has also allowed us to bring our message to places we couldn't do it without the internet.
Absolutely. And I think a silver lining of all this is that I think most programs will now be available probably both in person and some version of it online, right? So this summer, the goal is to do it in person, but also now people will have the option to do a digital version as well.
So that I was concerned this last year, because it would be the first time that it would be just online, and I was concerned how it will be this experience for the students, because it's unforgettable. The experience we had, the friendships, the going out to places at the end of the concerts or classes, so that was irreplaceable. So I was concerned, about these students. But at the end, in the end, it was better. Their feedback was that they received a lot of attention, much more attention than if they were here, because they have this, I mean, this thing that we are having now, one-on-one, just working in with his or her song for more longest times, or they didn't have opportunity to be distracted in the classes because they were a small group and we were asking things, and it was very intimate. So
Yeah.
it also has its beauties, its
For
advantages.
sure. For sure. Yeah, there's a lot of great work that can be done online. And there's definitely something to be said for this. You know, it's more, you have to be more focused. You know,
Claro,
yeah.
no, there is no opportunity to be distracted, or because I'm just looking at you and
Yeah.
asking, oh, Eugenia, did repeat this, or did you hear that? Or when we are in small groups, also in the festival here in person, always the group is small because we want to give a very personal attention. But in this last year, this online version was super small, so they
Yeah.
were like
Yeah.
concentrated.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I would like to open the floor for anyone who has questions. Si alguien tiene preguntas, ya nos pueden empezar a preguntar lo que quieran. And in the meantime, while we wait for questions, I wanted to ask you a little bit about Barcelona and the venues where the festival takes place, the venues where the concert takes place. Because Barcelona is full of small gems here and there, and there's so many beautiful venues to discover. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that.
So yes, Barcelona. I mean, I'm in love with Barcelona, and I mean, I was not born in Barcelona. I was born in Colombia, and I live here because I fell in love with it. And I every day after 22 years living here, when I go, it's true what I'm saying. Every time I go out and I'm walking around, I look around, I see, oh, this is so beautiful. Thank God I live here because this is the most beautiful place. So I really love the city. And also in July, when the festival happens, that is summertime, and the sea and the vibe of the city, that is very nice. But one of our places of the home, part of what is our home, is the Biblioteca Nacional de Catalunya, the National Library of Catalonia. That is a 15th century building that has the piano that was Enrique Granado's pianos. So we use that piano and this space, and that's part of the festival. I mean, the place where the festival happens. And right near there, we have our classes. That is in one of these buildings that is adjunct to the Biblioteca Nacional.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have concerts in other small palaces like the Real Academia de Bellas Artes. And every day, every year, the festival, it has 8 or 9 concerts, and they are in different places of the city, not all in the same place. They
Mm-hmm.
are kind of moving to explore the city, to bring the music to the whole city.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you just had a concert to present your latest CD, right?
See, so it was kind of strange and different because it was first of the 11 CDs I have published. This is the first one in which these are my compositions. Actually, it sounds strange for me to say.
To say it.
I mean, I'm not a composer. I didn't study to be a composer. These compositions were done more in the style that a folk or popular singer would compose.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very nice experiment because I had 3 musicians, a cellist, a guitarist, and a percussionist. And during the rehearsals, things were changing and were more alive. So, which is very nice because we are used to always go with the sheet music, always doing the same in a more rigid way.
Mm-hmm.
But here it was much more, if I could say, more free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We have a question. ¿Cuál es el compendio de partituras de música latinoamericana?
Israel, si tú preguntas de mis libros, son 10 libros. Pues hay uno de, por ejemplo, 2 libros dedicados al compositor colombiano, a las canciones de cámara del compositor colombiano Jaime León, que son 38 canciones preciosas, quizá de las más bonitas que hay escritas en América Latina del siglo XX, muy buenas para el piano también, porque él era un gran pianista. Hay una antología de las mujeres compositoras latinoamericanas e ibéricas con canciones de compositoras de Cataluña, de Brasil, de diferentes partes de América Latina, o sea que son en portugués, en catalán, en español. Hay también un libro de una compositora argentina, de un compositor boliviano. El próximo libro que sale en 3 semanas es una antología de la canción brasileña. Bueno, es una colección de 10 libros por ahora, el próximo será el 11, igual que los discos, el número 11. Y pues esos son los libros, todos los encuentras en mundoarts.com.
Genial, muchas gracias. Y do you think we can expect to have your songs in a book someday?
Oh, Dios mío. In the book of women composers, there are 2 of my songs.
Yeah.
Dios mío. Arranged for voice and piano.
Right.
Kind of made for more art song like. But the other songs I should arrange to adapt it for voice and piano.
Right.
I'm thinking about it because I think they are appropriate for voice and piano, I think.
Yeah, yeah. De nada, Israel. Dijo gracias.
Dijo gracias, sí, señor.
Sí. That's wonderful. Well, congratulations for all these new projects and all the amazing work you're doing. I, for one, I'm very grateful to have met you and to have run into the Barcelona Festival of Song. It's a highlight of my career, and I'm so glad it continues to stay in my life. And so for everyone to know where to contact you, where to keep up with you, where to connect with you, can you please list?
This is a list.
It's a list. I'll tag all the pages in the details, but
so I have a website where they can find most of the information, that is patriciacaicedo.com. And there they can go to it directs them to the YouTube, to the other things. And there is the mundoarts.com, that is the publisher that has all the sheet music, and also it has some digital songs that people can buy as digital sheet music. The CDs, my CDs, you can type my name on Spotify and you will find all my CDs that have art songs of composers from the 19th century until now in Catalan, Spanish, Portuguese, and indigenous languages. The podcast, if you go to my website, patriciacaicedo.com, and you go to the menu item podcast, it brings you to the podcast and to all the service, the platforms in which you can hear the podcast. It's the Latin American and Iberian Arts Home Podcast. It's in Spotify, iPod, iTunes, Stitcher, all the podcast platforms, and on my YouTube channel, that is youtube.com/singerpad. And finally, the festival is Barcelona festivalofsong.com, and registration is open.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And if we don't have any more questions, si no tenemos más preguntas, voy a dejar que Patricia siga con todo su trabajo. But this interview is going to stay recorded on IGTV in case you missed some of it. I'm also going to upload it to our YouTube. So it will be there for reference if you need to go back. I will also type a lot of this information on the caption so you can easily access it. And thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you for being in this conversation with us. Gracias a vos, Patricia, por todo tu trabajo, por tu tiempo, por contarnos todas estas cosas que estás haciendo. And I'll see you soon. We're in touch. I'm an ambassador.
No, thank you. Thank you, Eugenia, for allowing me this space to share with the singers of the world what I'm doing, because my whole purpose, Emiliano Zapata is there. Emiliano Zapata, we remember him. Emiliano Zapata is an alumni of the Barcelona Festival. So thank you very much for this space, for allowing me to share with the singers my mission and my love for this repertoire. And I only, if I can let something in their minds, is open your minds and explore new repertoire. It pays off. I mean, this is the most exciting part of being an artist, to constantly look for new things and create new things and learn new things.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And we have a Petit Kiki. Thank you so much for your work, both of you. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And that's a wrap. Thank you, everyone. Gracias, Patricia, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah.
Ciao. Thank you.
Adiós. Gracias. Un besito.